Iman Gadzhi accidentally leaked his outreach bot and outreach methods during an agency navigator Zoom call. And today I will show everything, and make sure to stay around to the outreach bot part, because it's absolutely groundbreaking for any agency. But to understand what even is this bot and how his outreach methods work, you have to define a few basics. Here's how Iman does outreach in a nutshell. These are his words.
99% of the cold pitches you see out there are terrible. It's a bunch of people asking super generic questions and then thinking they have the right to go into a multi-paragraph explanation about their services and what they do. And quite frankly, no one cares. So the reason I bring that up is I wouldn't assign so many resources to outreach if I didn't believe it worked. But it needs to be done in the right way. So anyways, there are really two main principles that you need to follow, and it doesn't matter what way that you are actually delivering the messages, whether that's a Facebook Messenger, LinkedIn email, even through a sales letter. Whatever it is, you still need to follow these two frameworks. Framework number 1 is don't be boring. Now that's actually sort of the nicer, softer version. What I usually say is don't be lame, and a lot of people do not follow that rule. A lot of people send messages where the recipient is looking at it, and within 2 sentences, they're rolling their eyes and going, "Great, another one." So number 1, don't be boring, or even better, don't be lame. And number 2, answer the "what's in it for me?" question very early on. And I reassure you on that. People's attention spans are very short these days, so you very quickly need to answer the question, "Hey, what's in this for me?" The issue with most cold messages these days is they will not grab attention. And getting attention quickly when you're sending a cold outreach is of vital importance. Say something unconventional or surprising that piques the prospect's interest and sort of puts down their wall of, "Okay, this is just another salesy message with the same copy-paste script." If you can prevent that from happening, you will be way ahead of your competition. Now here's the sauce. Iman's agency. IAG Media sells to mostly e-commerce businesses. That's a secret he was trying to keep, but I managed to find his old course pen to profit. He never talks about this in his videos because it would eat up all his revenue. You have to realize just how profitable e-commerce clients are, because they turn around millions of dollars in ad spend. If you have a 1% commission, that's $10,000 a month. But now I'm going to break down how he actually gets these clients. Here is a clip from his course.
All get threaded through into support@agreeandc.com, and that's going to be the same with most of the leads that you're reaching out to. So you need to have a few sneaky tricks in your arsenal. Now bear in mind, in the plug and play section of this module, which summarizes everything, and it's very heavy. There's a lot of information in this one. So once again, I'm not going to reference it in the module, but feel free to take a look at it after. In there, you will find a full list of links of different softwares that I recommend, and as I said, I'm going to mention a few here. And I will also break down exactly how to install them and get the most out of them. Now, before I do mention that, please understand that these tools, they go out of fashion and they go out of favor. Very similar to a lot of the LinkedIn automation tools, which we'll be getting into in very, very briefly. A lot of times there are little changes and amendments that these big tech companies make, and that kind of makes the software obsolete. So once again, remember, if there are any changes, one of the big goals of building this platform and having all this time and effort that's gone into it is having a really just beautiful, detailed plug and play section that can get updated anytime. So as I said, please refer to the plug and play section. And if there have been any amendments or one software has gone out of favor for us and we prefer a different one, it'll be listed there. Now, the number 1 tool I would recommend, is that I'll give some alternatives in the plug and play, is hunter.io. Now, for most people, I'd say it's free. If you are doing more regular checks, you will have to purchase some credits, but nonetheless, it's still a relatively inexpensive software. Now, once you've registered and installed the Hunter plugin on Google Chrome, every time you visit a website, all you need to do is just hover over the plugin icon. And basically what Hunter will do is it will scour the domain and other websites as well, which actually reference or point back to this domain. And it'll find email addresses which end in the same domain. So if the owner has been listed elsewhere in an article or publicly available database, for example, this will appear. And you can see right here, we've got Will's Vegan Shoes, and there's some other emails that were listed, and I'm going to take a wild guess and just assume that the owner of this brand is not going to be Farhad. It's going to be Will at Will's Vegan Shoes. Now let's get back to finding leads, and first we will start off with Google Maps. Now, for local businesses, this really is your bread and butter. Now, if you've never heard Google's mission statement, I'll go ahead and recite it here because you might find it a little interesting. Basically, their mission is to organize the world's information and make it easily accessible and usable for everyone. And we see this in broad variety from Google, all the way from, Google Maps to digitizing every single book that's been written. But in a slightly more mundane application, what Google does is it keeps a directory of every single local business in your area. Now, of course, most businesses will actually opt in to be listed on Google, but they themselves proactively will go out and use different sources and figure out exactly what is where, what shops are where, what restaurants, establishments, etc., etc. And it'll index all this stuff, making note of whether a certain restaurant closed down or maybe they moved location. So when it comes to finding lists of local businesses, it really is as simple as just doing the search. And that's what we're going to do right now. So for example, here are restaurants in Vancouver. Now what you can do after this is you can actually use some filters to narrow down your search as well. Now, while you are actually lead sourcing and doing this, I would recommend that you save each restaurant that you would like to reach out to in you can call whatever a reach out to list, right? Now you can do this by clicking on the result, clicking save, and then basically just, as I said, adding it to list. This helps you to create an actual lead list inside of Google Maps. And you can access this later. You can remove leads once you've reached out to them, etc., etc. Now, once you have saved enough places, you can then use as a list, as I said, to update your outreach sheet. Okay. Now, obviously, I've shown you how to set up everything with Trello, Pipedrive, and then, as I said, in future agency flow. But as mentioned, you can actually use this as kind of a lead list to start off with, right? Not really so much a CRM, but at least a lead list. And depending on your method of outreach, as I said, you can either note down the website or phone number, and then you can use a tool to find their email address. Next is Groupon. Now you can actually use Groupon for both local businesses as well as online businesses, but in this instance, we'll be using it specifically in the domain of local businesses. Now this is an incredible resource for a couple of reasons. First of all, when you are doing sales and when you're attracting clients, one of the big things you want to look out for is intent. Every business that lists on Groupon already knows that they need to attract more customers and they're willing to do the marketing in order to make it happen. It's just they're doing it in a way that's very clunky, slow, inefficient. And the second reason, why Groupon is so good is because, as I said, they look at intent. They already know that they need more customers and marketing is the way that they're going to do it. It's just they're paying through the nose to actually list on Groupon. Most people don't realize that, this is how these businesses work. They have a fee. So Groupon ends up taking a massive, massive fee in order to bring them leads. And it could be done so much more cheaply through, whatever service that you're offering. And also it's something that's kind of more, at the end of the day, Groupon is the one that controls the traffic. Whereas if you can control the traffic, lock it in, especially for these local businesses, collect emails, collect phone numbers, and really get, take it into their world rather than the world of Groupon, then, that's very, very powerful. So just like Google Maps, this is as simple as searching for your niche and a specific location. Now, of course, you can go nationwide too. Then you can actually also search the name of the business in Google. Now, whilst this module isn't about outreach, it's really important to note that, when you have a lead from Groupon, the last thing on earth you want to do is just treat them like any other lead. Okay. Instead, use this as an angle. In your initial email to the business, you can let them know that you found them on Groupon and, ask if it's working for them. Refer to them to the fact that, Facebook ads or any other services that you're offering could be much more cost effective and the reasons behind it. Now, this is far more likely to elicit a response than just a standard outreach email because, as I said, you're acknowledging the fact that they do have intent on growing. They do have intent on bringing new customers and they're willing to pay for it. All you're doing now is you're just showing them that, hey, there might be better methods out there in order to make this happen. Another outreach method where leads have demonstrated a high intent is job sites like Reed or, even LinkedIn job listings, et cetera, because there's a lot of people out there. Now, depending on the niche that you are operating in, you have to be very mindful of actually, what you're searching, because most of the time the job listing won't be Facebook advertiser. Unless it's, an actual agency that's looking to hire. And obviously that's not what we want. More of these corporate jobs usually tend to be listed as like digital marketing executive or social media manager, stuff like that. So as I said, you've got these businesses out there that know they need this or at least think that they want this in-house person to help manage all of their marketing. Now, what do they want? They don't necessarily care about someone being in-house. They just want someone to handle this aspect of their business. So really what you need to do when you're on Reed or LinkedIn or any of these other job listing sites is you need to really read between the lines. What are they asking for? They might say, hey, this person needs to be good at Facebook ads, email marketing, etc., etc. Read between the lines and see what it is that they actually want.